It's grit and grace, side by side, fire in my chest, calm in my mind. I'll build what lasts, I'll choose my lane, turn pressure into purpose, paint it again. With grit and grace, I'm free to be all I am, becoming steadily.
There's a quote I saw recently that hit me in the chest because it's so simple and so true. Don't wait until someone's business is successful to support it. Support is what helps it get there. And I want to talk about this today because behind that quote is a whole conversation about courage, community, tall poppy syndrome, money mindset, and how we treat people when they're building something from scratch. Because if we only celebrate people once they've made it, we're missing the point. We're arriving for the applause and not the effort. Welcome to Grit and Grace, where we talk business mindset, well-being, leadership, and the standards that make success sustainable. I'm Donna, and today's episode is about support, what it really looks like, why it matters earlier than most people think, and how to support others in a way that's genuine, practical, and aligned, without overextending yourself or feeling pressured. And if you're the one building right now, this episode is also going to be a reminder that it's not personal if support is slow. Often it's simply that people don't understand what support looks like in the early stages. So let's unpack it. I'd like to start with a story that I think a lot of people will recognize. A while back, I was watching someone I knew build a business from the ground up. It was nothing flashy, there was no big launch, no fancy studio, just a person with real skill, putting themselves out there and trying to make it work. They were turning up consistently. They were showing their work, posting content even when it felt like no one noticed, refining their services, tweaks here and there, juggling family life, managing costs, and carrying the pressure that comes with building something that you can't fully predict. And I remember hearing people talk about them in a way that sounded supportive, but it really wasn't. It was things like, oh, good on them, but I'll wait until they've been doing it a bit longer. I'll book them once they've got more experience. I don't want to be their practice run. I'll support them when they're more established. Now, I understand caution, truly I do. We all want value and professionalism, and that matters. But what I saw was this. The same people who hesitated early were the first ones to say, I've always supported you, once the business gained traction. And that's when it clicked for me. Support is not what you say when it's safe. Support is what you do when it still feels a bit uncertain. Sometimes support is a purchase, yes, but sometimes it's a referral. Sometimes it's a review. Sometimes it's saying their name in a room of opportunity. Sometimes it's paying on time. And sometimes it's just sharing their work. And sometimes it's simply being encouraging instead of critical when you see someone is trying. And I've never forgotten the difference between the people who watched and the people who backed them. And there's a pattern I've observed for years, both professionally and personally. People are quick to celebrate outcomes. The new office, the fully booked calendar, the awards, the six-figure month, the post, the shiny rebrand, the team photos, and the milestone announcements. But the part that often gets ignored is in the middle. It's the learning curve, it's the fear, the awkward first offers, the first 20 social media posts that barely reach anyone, the nights that you spend figuring out systems, the client conversations that go wrong that you replay in your head over and over, the cash flow stress, the quiet tears after a day of trying your absolute best. And the truth is, the early stage requires a kind of courage that most people don't see. And when someone is in that stage, they don't need a crowd later. They need support now, the kind that helps them stay in the game. So what does support really mean properly? Because this is where people get confused. Support does not always mean spending money. It can, but it doesn't have to. Support can look like sharing someone's post with a sincere comment, leaving a review after you've worked with them, referring someone who is a genuine fit, giving them a chance early, introducing them to the right person, encouraging them privately when they're doubting themselves, paying on time, respecting their boundaries and their process, and speaking about them positively when they're not in the room. Support also looks like not dismissing someone's work because it's new. We live in a world where people say they want community, but what they often mean is community only when it benefits me. Real community is I see you trying, I see you building, I'm going to back you while it's still a little bit messy. Now, I do want to be fair, people don't always withhold support because they're unkind. Sometimes they hold back because they don't want to be sold to. They've been burnt before, they're cautious with money, they're overwhelmed themselves, and they don't understand what you do, and they assume you're already doing fine anyway. But there are two other reasons that are harder for us to say out loud. One is discomfort. Watching someone take a risk can make other people feel exposed because your courage holds up a mirror. If you are building something and you're putting yourself out there, someone who is avoiding their own growth may feel uncomfortable and they may distance themselves rather than face that discomfort. The second reason is comparison. Sometimes people don't support because it triggers their insecurity. If she succeeds, what does it say about me? And that's not your issue to carry, but it's useful to understand because it helps you stop making it mean you're unworthy. Often it has nothing to do with your business. It just has to do with other people's relationship with risk, change, visibility, and their self-belief. There is a myth that needs to be dismantled. I'll support them when they're more established. That sentence sounds sensible, but what it often means is I'll support them once the risk is gone. But the risk is exactly where the support matters most. Early support is powerful because it creates momentum, confidence, credibility, cash flow, evidence that what you're doing matters. It's one thing to have self-belief in your head. It's another thing to have self-belief reinforced by someone saying, I trust you, I'll go first. And that's not charity, that's leadership. And in small communities especially, this matters because small businesses are not abstract ideas, they are people. They are often carrying mortgages, grief, responsibility, pressure, and they're trying to build something that serves others. Now I want to talk about the other side, support and standards. Supporting someone's business does not mean expecting them to be available 24/7. It does not mean asking for discounts because we're friends. It is not demanding extra labor because you helped them when they were new. It is not testing their boundaries, and it is not treating them like they owe you. That is not support, that is entitlement dressed up as loyalty. Real support respects that they have costs, they have capacity limits, they have a process, and they have a right to price their work sustainably. And a simple rule is this: if you want small business to exist, you must allow it to be profitable. So support it properly. Pay the invoice on time, follow the booking process, respect their turnaround times. Don't ask for mates' rates unless they offer it, and do not take it personally when they uphold their boundaries, because the best businesses aren't built by overgiving. They are built by doing excellent work and running it like a business. So let's flip it a bit. If you're building a business and you're feeling disappointed that people aren't supporting you, I want to say this gently and clearly. Do not build your business on the assumption that friends and family will be your customer base. Sometimes they will, often they won't. Not because they don't love you, but because they're not your ideal client. They don't understand the value. They have their own financial pressures, or they are not comfortable mixing relationships and business. You can be grateful to people who do support you without resenting those who don't. And you can succeed without approval. The goal is to build a clear offer, consistent marketing, strong client experience, good boundaries, and real relationships with the people you are meant to serve. Support is wonderful. It is also not something you can control. What you can control is your consistency and your standards. Let's break it down and make it super simple, because that's what we do best here at Grit and Grace. 7 ways that you can support a business this week that cost you little to nothing, but yet make a genuine difference. Leave a review. Be specific, not generic. Share a post and say what it is that you like about their work. Refer them to one person who is a true fit. Pay on time or early. And respect their boundaries and their process. They're people too. Give feedback kindly. Privately, constructively. Encourage them, especially when things are quiet. Small actions are not small when they are consistent. I'd just like to close with this. Support isn't something you do once someone is successful. Support is often what creates the success. And in a world where negativity is loud, becoming someone who supports early, sincerely, and without condition is a powerful choice. So here's your challenge. Pick one business that you admire, someone who is building, and support them this week in a real way. And if you're the one building, keep going. The work you do counts, even if it feels quiet. Until next time, keep your grit and protect your grace.
In the quiet, before the daylight breaks, I'm drawing lines for my own sake. I've carried more than I let on show, still found a way to learn and grow. With steady hands I set the pace, a fierce heart held in gentle space. I won't trade my peace for proof, I won't build a life without a roof. I'll rise, I'll rest, I'll recalibrate, strong enough to do, wise enough to wait. It's grit and grace, side by side, fire in my chest, calm in my mind. I'll build what lasts, I'll choose my lane, turn pressure into purpose, paint it again. With grit and grace, I'm free to be all I am, becoming steadily. I won't shrink back to make it easy, I won't stay small to keep things tidy. I'll speak the truth, I'll name my worth, put roots down deep and do the work. And when it's heavy, I won't break, I'll bend with care, then reset my faith. I'll measure growth in more than gold, in quiet wins and courage bold. I'll lead with heart, I'll honor pace, ambition guided by restraint and grace. It's grit and grace, side by side, fire in my chest, calm in my mind. I'll build what lasts, I'll choose my lane, turn pressure into purpose, paint it again. With grit and grace, I'm free to be all I am, becoming steadily. Let it be simple, let it be true, a steady rhythm pulling me through. When doubt is loud, I'll still begin, again and again I'll choose to win. Not by force, not by fear, by showing up year after year. It's grit and grace, side by side, fire in my chest, calm in my mind. I'll build what lasts, I'll choose my lane, turn pressure into purpose, paint it again. With grit and grace, I'm free to be all I am, becoming steadily. Grit and grace, I rise, I breathe, I make my place. Grit and grace, side by side,